My name is Matt, and I'm a total piece of shit. And this is the definitive guide for trip planning in Elden Ring Nightreign. Instead of, getting your cheeks clapped constantly outside the zone or being underleveled, let's make the most important thing in this game work for you. Time. Time is everything. I'm going to be breaking this video into 3 parts. Part 1 will be the timings of the zones. Part 2 will be the average times of completing points of interest in what I'm going to be calling actions. Part 3 will be a mental system that you can apply to your strategy to make choices faster and route more efficiently. As always, I'll have my chapters timestamped below. So if you know something like the timings of the zones already, just skip to what you want to see. The point of this video is so you won't be the guy who couldn't plan a trip out of your driveway. Look, everybody's died out there, but for some reason, many people still act like they were dropped on their head as a kid. And they're on the other side of the map without a clue, like... This video is designed to help you not waste as much time and make choices much faster. And most importantly, let's not give the guy trying to carry a fucking aneurysm. Here is a hint for you guys. Crossing the entire map to get a single church is some scrubby noob shit. Stop it. This game very much is a race against the clock to get shit done, so let's get to it. Real quick though, subscribe here, subscribe on Twitch, make sure to drop a like on the video. It's the only plug I'm gonna do until the rest of the video. All right, part 1. First, let's talk about the timings of the zones. As you probably already know, this game is broken into 3 days, but the final day is the end game fight, so I'm not discussing that here. Days 1 and 2 are practically identical, like your girlfriend and her twin, but it's not like you can tell them apart even if he does have a penis. Anyway, as you know, there are 2 zones and 2 end-of-day fights. Zone 1 allows play of the entire map. You have 4 minutes and 30 seconds until the zone begins to shrink for the first time. Once it starts collapsing, the process takes 3 minutes. To sum that up, your total game time by the time the zone shrinks all the way down to its first stage is 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Stay with me, this is really important. The moment the zone here flips from white to blue marks the timer starting on zone 2. You will have another 4 minutes and 30 seconds before the zone shrinks down again. This time all the way to a small ring marking the end of the day fight. This process also takes roughly 3 minutes. However, the fight can actually be triggered early, but there's no advantage to that. You gotta kill the fucker anyway, so you might as well maximize your time on the way to that zone by killing everything in sight, grab a field boss, kill an enemy, do your thing. Just don't get stuck or blow your load fighting a boss you're not ready to fight yet. But yeah, make sure you're killing shit until that zone is at its absolute maximum amount of time. The end of day fights have no time limit at all, so take your time. Okay, after the first day boss is dead, there is a 30-second window after the boss is killed that does not apply to the next day's timer. You can run into the zone and you'll take damage, but you should absolutely be plowing on ahead into the zone to get where you need to go. Those 30 seconds are way more important than you think. Then the day does the exact same shit again. 4 minutes, 30 seconds full map, 3 minute collapse, 4 minute, 30 seconds half map, 3 minute collapse. To recap, we have 4 minutes and 30 seconds, a 3 minute collapse twice a day, leading to a full game time of 30 minutes, 30 if you include the 30 seconds after the day 1 fight. Okay, now that we all know what the timings are of the zones, I'm gonna move on to part 2. Part 2. How long shit takes. All right, this part is how long, on average, things tend to take in the world. And after this, I'm gonna tie it all together. I did some running around in a solo lobby with a stopwatch to see how long certain things take so I could start to build up a system. For example, I ran from one corner of the map all the way to the other, and that takes roughly 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Let's just call it 3 minutes. In zone 2, going from one side to its opposite is roughly 1:45. Now, I know there's probably ways to shave this down a bit with wacky abilities and such, but most people are going to get somewhere in the ballpark of these numbers if they just run in a straight line, hopping obstacles, trying not to get stuck. And then as for the zone, the walls of the zone that has more ground to cover will move. As for the closing zone, the walls of that zone have a lot more cover and will move a lot. The wall, oh my fucking God, why can't I? As for the zone, the walls of the zone that have a lot more ground to cover are going to move a lot faster than the ones that are right next to it. The entire circle has the same 3 minutes to collapse. However, even at the furthest point where it's at its fastest, you can jog, not even sprint away from it. Okay, here's some other timings to consider and keep track of that come into play. Dying takes 10 seconds to respawn. Diverting off course to a site of grace is usually a 15 to 30 second addition depending on how far away it is. The mines each take roughly 45 seconds to run straight through to the other side. with another 1 minute to kill the boss inside for a smithing stone. So call it roughly 2 minutes to do a mine for a smithing stone. And then to add to that, any 2 points of interest immediately next to each other take roughly 20 seconds to get to. Now I'm going to break up the points of interest into different categories. The biggest pussy-ass bosses are in these buildings. At level 1, they take around 3 minutes to get to off spawn and kill to get to level 3. After level 1, you can kill them a lot faster, but still shouldn't even be bothered with unless they have a specific status or item, like if you need a magic wand or the molesty finger seal. I don't know. I don't play spellcaster because I don't fucking gargle cock, but you know. Jokes! They're all jokes. After all, it's not my fucking fault recluse mains are the ones spending the most time down. The next tier up from here are the areas that look like these, and they have more status effects, usually good for hitting right after the level 1 shit. And these take a solid group of 3, maybe 3 minutes as well to complete. Absolute max. If it's the flame chariots, if you're spending 3 minutes on that, you suck. The enemies always spawn in like the exact same spots, and there's only a fixed amount of bosses there could be here, so memorization is key. I have seen these guys go down in under 15 seconds with a coordinated team. These should honestly really only be hit if there is a status affliction the final guy is weak to, or if you're plowing straight through the area anyway. They don't give enough souls to warrant going way out of your way for them or doing a ton of them. The main things you want to be shooting for as early as possible are field bosses, the Shifted Earth dungeon, or mainly the fortress. Obviously, only go after the ones you can actually take on. This is where knowing your own and ideally teammates' strength is super important because you do not want to spend longer than 5 minutes on a field boss. A way to measure this, if you're unsure if you can take on the Bell-Bearing Hunter, or Darth Vader as people are calling it, at level 5, would be mentally time how long it takes your team to drain roughly 10% of its health. If it takes longer than 30 seconds, get the hell out of there. I mean, that logic might be why no Tinder girls call you back, but it is what it is. It's better to burn 30 seconds and move on than to burn more time because of pride and have to call it when the zone has you by the balls and then get nothing at all. Another thing to consider is if there's a Shifting Earth event, it takes roughly 5 to 7 minutes to complete it unless you know some wacky shortcut. However, when there is a Shifting Earth event, the final zone is always in it, so it can be used to your advantage. If you have the lava pit, the last zone is always here. If it's in the mountains, it's here. If it's in the city, it's here. In the rotting forest, here. So, like, don't freak out if the zone is closing and you're not quite done with that area yet. Just keep an eye on it. The most common thing is the fortress, and that takes roughly 10 to 15 minutes to completely clear with top and bottom bosses dead. It is very worth it, in my opinion, because there was about 10 levels of runes on these enemies with plenty of drops. But I do not think the trolls are worth fighting, though. I hate those fuckers with a passion, so if you think they're worth it, go for it. I just simply do not. I do not concern myself with these LeBron James wannabe motherfuckers. Someone should just give those boys an NBA contract already. Okay, as you can see, I'm using time as a resource here, and now is where I'm going to explain my logic on how to order things in the most optimal way. Again, there is a 30-minute, 30-second max playtime in the 2 days leading up to the final boss. We know a cross-map run takes roughly 3 minutes, and each area at the appropriate level takes around 2 to 3 minutes as well. I'm going to break the 30 minutes of free play down into what I'm going to call actions. If most things are 1 to 3 minutes, you have a choice of roughly 10 to 15 actions in a full game. Each day being 7 to 10, each zone being 3 to 5. However, this can be expanded by adding actions inside of other actions. Example would be hitting a mine on the way to the church, or killing a field boss on the way to the zone. The idea here is to break your roughly 10 to 15 actions into things that advance you as fast as possible. Crossing the map takes between 2 and 3 minutes depending on the actual distance. You're gonna have to cross the map at some point, so routing through it is a much more efficient way than doing what's around you, than doing a run that benefits no one while the zone closes. And going for a church on the other side of the map that can take up an entire action or 2 if you have to double back, and is only worth doing if there is something else there or is on the way to a zone closure. Try to remember, just because you have the entire map doesn't mean it's worth crossing it and skipping things. View the following things as burning up 1 or more of your actions. Completing a locations boss, 1. Crossing the map, I'm going to call 2 because you'll likely have to backtrack to shit you missed if you beeline a church and have to return to your team. If you start keeping track of your run distances, you're going to see how much time you're burning doing it. But sometimes it's worth burning the time to avoid a level 1 boss and get to a more lucrative area. If you're over level 1, leave the fire monk alone. I count 1 for killing a field boss in under 3 minutes. I count the entire fortress as 4 or 5 depending on your speed. And the shifted earth dungeons I'm gonna call 3. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if it was helpful or changed your way of looking at the map at all, let me know in the comments below. And if you have another way of doing this, let me know. A lot of what I did here was kind of grounded in the fact that everything takes time in this game. Time is a resource. You cannot afford to waste it. So I built my playstyle around how fast I can do shit. And if you guys are interested in seeing me on Twitch, I'm live practically every day at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Link is in the description. Check me out there. See ya.